The tears were streaming. It wasn't pretty. Hey, what's up guys? It's Avery from A Very Avid Reader and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who haven't never been here before, what's up? Welcome to me. I hope that you enjoy your time here and I hope that you enjoy this video. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a tag, and no one tagged me in this, but I wanted to do it, so I'm gonna do it. And this tag is the Moody tag slash the Moody Reader Tag slash the Moody Book Tag slash a bunch of other things, because I don't actually know what the name of this tag is because I've seen so many people call it so many different things, but it's about moodiness. So if you're a moody girl or guy or anyone, this tag is for you. Lord knows that I'm a moody girl myself. So anyway, I'm going to just get started with the questions. If you want to film a video like this yourself, then I will have the questions in the description. So do it. Anyway, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. The first question is, do you consider yourself a mood reader? So I only recently found out what this was, maybe a month ago, and I would say I definitely am a mood reader. So a mood reader is someone who just picks up whatever book they're in the mood for, and I would say for my whole life that's definitely been my prerogative, but I have changed a little bit since joining BookTube, and that's because I now will plan out a little bit what books I want to read, because if I think that it's going to go well for a video I want to shoot in the future, then I will try and read that book now or read it as soon as I can. And there are always books that I still want to read. It's not like I'm reading things for videos that I don't want to read, but I do say that I kind of schedule them a little bit more. But in the past, in my whole life, I really have been a mood reader. I just kind of pick up whatever looks good to me on my shelf. Question number 2 is, do you set TBR lists and do you stick to them? So I only recently started setting TBR lists, and once again, I think that's because I joined BookTube, and that's a pretty popular video that people make, and I like making them when you make a wrap-up video and then you talk about your TBR for the next month. So I filmed 2 of those videos, and I'm kind of 1 for 2. For my January video where I talked about a February TBR, I don't think I read a single book on my February TBR. I just read other stuff, so wasn't super great with that one. But for my May wrap up and my June TBR video, I have been reading what I put on my June TBR, so this pause is for your applause. Thank you, thank you. Thanks everyone. I really appreciate the support. It's all for you. So yeah, I just recently started creating TBRs, and I'm trying to stick to them, and we'll see. I'm not gonna jinx anything. Question number 3 is, do books affect you emotionally, and does the mood of a book rub off on you? So that is a big emphatic yes, books affect me emotionally. I'm an extremely emotional girl. I feel all the emotions. So when I'm reading, I'm very emotionally invested in the characters and what's going on. So the answer to this is yes, books do affect me emotionally. Does the mood rub off on me? I would say not always, just because you know what, if I'm reading something and something really sad happens, then I might be in a little bit of a funk. So maybe it does, actually. And if I'm reading a book and it's kind of fun, then I might be in a more fun mood. So I think I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say it probably does. Nothing crazy where I'm like in a severe depressive episode if I read a sad story, but I would say it probably does rub off on me. The next question is, when you're feeling sad, do you read sad books, happy books, or neutral books? I would say very rarely am I sad and then it's time for me to pick up a new book. Usually I'm already in the middle of reading something. If I get sad, I kind of have like up and down moments where I'm sad and happy and sad and happy. So I would say if I'm sad, I usually will just continue reading whatever it is that I'm already reading. And I very rarely choose to read sad books. I don't know if people do that. Like I will never pick up A Little Life ever. I don't know why you would want to do that. So I would say that usually, depending on my mood, which does fluctuate a lot, I'll just continue reading whatever it is that I'm already reading, you know? The next question is, most often do you use books as a way to escape, to learn, or to critically think? And 100% I use books as a way to escape. I very rarely pick up a book and I'm like, I want to critically think right now. It's usually because I'm picking up a book at the end of the day and I just want to relax. And the way to do that is to read a fun story or just kind of escape into a new world. I think a good portion of that has to do with the fact that I'm in college right now, so I'm constantly learning and critically thinking. I'm even in summer classes right now, so I really just don't catch a break. So since I'm constantly doing that in my day-to-day, I don't really want to pick up a book and continue to learn. I just kind of want to chill when I pick up a book, just have a good time, enjoy myself, and not make my brain work too hard. The next question is, what is a book that has made you laugh out loud? And I would say that these books are pretty few and far between, and I laugh pretty easily, but recently I would say 2 books that made me laugh really hard was The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune and Supreme Courtship by Christopher Buckley. So those books were both super funny, both in their own ways. The House in the Cerulean Sea, the children were so funny in that book. Anything they said made me laugh. They were hilarious, so cute. So that book made me laugh a lot, especially the character Lucy. And then Supreme Courtship is kind of a political satire, and all the characters are hilarious in it, whether it be like the President of the United States, senators, just all the different politicians and judges in that book were so funny. They were kind of these caricatures of what a politician is like, and everything they said was funny too. That book made me laugh a lot. So if you guys want to laugh, then definitely read those 2 books. The next question is, what is a book that has made you cry? Or if you don't really cry, what's a book that has moved you? So as I mentioned earlier, I'm a crier. I'm a big crier. Love to cry. Well, I don't think I love to cry, but my body loves to cry. So I'm not being dramatic when, if you look on my Goodreads, a good 80% of the books I've read, I probably teared up at some point or another. And it either can be because of something happy or it could be because of something sad. And there's no limit to Avery's tears. So I would say that I've cried a lot during books that I've read recently. So I'm just going to talk about books that really had these tears streaming down the face, because I do like tear up a lot, but it does take a lot for me to be like bawling. So the 2 books that have made me cry a lot recently have been Call Me By Your Name by Andre Osman and If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. So I feel like most people know what these books are about. They have movie adaptations and they're both just sad. So Call Me By Your Name is sad in its kind of romantic heartbreak way. So I definitely cried during that quite a bit. And then If Beale Street Could Talk is so sad. It's about a man who's been wrongfully convicted and is in jail for a crime that he did not commit. And it's about his family struggling with that and his pregnant girlfriend. And, you know, race plays a lot into it. And it's very sad. And that one is sad in its own way because it feels like more real and like it affects people every single day. So even though this family is made up, you know that it's a real issue and that real people deal with this every day. Those 2 just made me cry a lot. Like, the tears were streaming, it wasn't pretty, mascara was just DOA. Oh, I also would like to say that The House in the Cerulean Sea made me cry a lot as well. But I already talked about that one a little bit, but that one did make me cry too. The next question is, what is a book where you don't know how you felt about it? And this was actually really hard for me to think of because I feel like I generally know when I read a book if I disliked it or if I really liked it. It was hard for me to like look at my bookshelves and think, I don't know how I feel about a certain book. But one book I did feel that way about was The Last Star by Rick Yancey, and this is the 3rd and final book in the 5th Wave trilogy. So I really liked this trilogy. I thought the whole concept behind it was really interesting. It's like a dystopian world, and I really liked the whole series and up until the very end. And without spoiling too much, it's always hard when a main character dies and sacrifices themselves for the good of other people. And I'm not going to say which main character because there's multiple different main characters in the book, but it makes you mad because you like the character, so you don't want them to die, but at the same time they did like save everyone. So it's kind of like, how do I feel about this? It was the same way with the Divergent series and Allegiant, how, okay, this isn't a spoiler, Divergent came out a million years ago. Tris dies. Except for that one, I can actually firmly say I thought that was stupid and that whole series made me angry. So this one was more, The Last Star was more of a, how do I feel about this? Like, I'm upset, but also, I mean, I'm glad that happened. So that one I remember finishing and just kind of being like, I don't know how I feel about it. The next question is, are you more likely to read on a sunny or cloudy day? And I would say that it doesn't really matter the weather. I usually try to read every single day. Reading is a part of my nighttime routine. I usually read an hour or two before I go to bed. So really, it doesn't matter. I guess if it is a sunny day, I might be more likely to go outside and do stuff. And if it's cloudy, then I might be more likely to read during the middle of the day. But usually I'm doing stuff during the middle of the day, so I read at night. So I would say it doesn't really matter for me. Question number 10 is, do you usually set the mood when you read? So like lighting, if you light candles, or if you play music. And I would say because I read at night, the lighting is usually just my lights are off in my room and I have my light next to my bedside on. But I don't really do much. I'm usually pretty cozy. I'm in my bed, the lights are off, and it's a cozy time. I would say that I am very sensitive to sound. So for example, I can't fall asleep usually if there's lots of noise. It's the same thing if I'm reading. I really need quiet, or it doesn't have to be quiet. It just needs to be consistent sound. So if that consistency is silence, then that's great. But also if I were to be on a train or on a bus and there was like movement, but it was a consistent like movement and sound, then I would be fine with that. Same with like being on an airplane. But it's when there's little noises that kind of break your bubble of reading. So for example, my fan will occasionally rattle. So it'll be nice and silent with my fan going, and then it'll just rattle and make this noise and then stop, and then it'll rattle again, and that drives me absolutely crazy. It drives me up a wall. I've broken my fan twice since I've lived here because I end up pulling the chain out of the fan, and it's just not a good time. So I do need like consistent sound. So sometimes I play white noise because that's just a nice like consistent buffer, and it'll block out some of the other sounds that come from outside or all those things. Another thing is birds. I hate birds chirping, especially because the birds where I live, they will chirp at 3 in the morning, they'll chirp at 5 in the morning. They just really do their thing, and I don't know if it's because it's spring, so they're getting freaky. It'll be midnight and I'll be reading in my bed and there will be birds chirping outside my window and I want to scream. Okay, and the last question is, can you leap from book to book, or do you need a buffer time in between? So I would say this depends. Normally, I have a day or two in between books, but it's usually because I'm taking that time to catch up on other things. Usually like catch up on a TV show that I haven't been watching as much because I've been reading that book, or catch up watching YouTube. So that's usually why there's a buffer. It's not really because I feel like I need to wait before I start a new book. Sometimes I do. If it's a book that I really, really love and I finished it and I just kind of feel, you know, when you finish a book and you really enjoyed it, you feel a little empty, just a little, and you kind of want to ruminate in that world and just ruminate on that book. I have felt that before. And you know, you spend time going on Instagram or going on Tumblr and just trying to find other people who like love that series and looking at fan art. So I do that sometimes. If I'm just obsessed with the book, I'll give myself like a day or two to grieve the fact that I finished it. So yeah, I would say sometimes I need a buffer, but not all the time. Sometimes if I finish a book and I liked it, I'm like, that was great, and I start a new one the next day. Okay, so that was the last question. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this Moody tag. Let me know if you're the same way about some of this stuff, or if you're drastically different. I would just love to hear kind of how you read and how moody you are. Like I said, the questions are in the description. If you want to make this video yourself, I would love to see it, so let me know if you do. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you want. Like, that'd be cool. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.